Welcome to Animal Behavior. This week, we are going to study evolution of mating systems. In the previous class, we have studied male satin bowerbirds, in which the males in the breeding season, which may last for several months, it tried to attract as many females as possible and mate with any female that is willing. Whereas the females, she mates with only one male and then return to her nest and rear her young for the rest of the breeding season. So she mates with only one male, whereas males has a potential to mate with several females. Why do we have such difference between the males and females, and why there's such a diversity in mating systems? This is the topic for this week. This topic, the evolution of mating system, is the continuation of the grand theme that is related to sex. We first studied the evolution of sex and then sexual selection, and this is the last topic, evolution of mating system. Do you remember in the first week relating to the sex, evolution of sex? I told you that when sexes are created, they are not created equal. The female gametes and male gametes, they are different in terms of the size and number. The female the gamete is huge, but it's fewer. But the male gametes, they are numerous, but they are a lot. So there's inequalities between the sexes in gamete size. And also, after the offspring is born or laid, there is a difference in parental investment to the offspring. Usually, in one sex, they provide a lot more care in terms of the prey or the time and energy devoted to the young. So usually one sex devote a lot more than the other. So there's an inequality between the sexes in parental investment. Because these inequalities in parental investment and gamete size, these pressures create biased operational sex ratio. It means that one sex, even though the population sex ratio is 1:1, at any one moment there are more number of individuals in one sex are able to mate compared to the other sex. So this biased operational sex ratio, it results in one sex high potential reproductive rate. That's the sex that usually free from the parental investment. But in the other sex that usually provide more parental investment has low potential reproductive rate because they have to invest more time and energy for the rearing of the young. So in this case, the sex with the high potential reproductive rate, they compete with each other for access to the other sex, whereas in a sex with a low potential reproductive rate, they choose among the other sex. Okay, usually the males are the sex with high potential reproductive rate, and the females are the sex with the low potential reproductive rate. So that's the typical in the cases. There are a lot of examples that that reverse the sex role is the rule of the day. But let's assume that for now the males are the sex with the high potential reproductive rate, and the females are the sex with the low potential reproductive rate. Then the reproductive success of males is typically limited by access to the number of females. How do you increase your fitness? If you are the males with the high potential reproductive rate, you just find more females and mate with them. That way you can increase the number of offsprings. So you compete with each other among the males for the access to the other sex, the females. So naturally, the outcome, the resultant outcome of this process is the male polygyny. Okay, so it means that the males try to mate with as many females as possible. So outstanding question out of this process is this one: why are males ever voluntarily monogamous? This is the Darwinian puzzle of the of the mating system. Let's look at the females. Again, assume that the females have low potential reproductive rate. Then reproductive success is typically limited by access to resources rather than by the number of mates. So females choose among the males. So the monogamy is the the outcome of this process. So the outstanding question from this process is: why do females practice polyandry when the monogamy might be suited for females? But I want you reminds that the mating systems are not fixed for a species. So please don't think this way. Oh, here's the one species, and this has I look at the book. This has this mating system, like a monogamy or the polyandry. Then this species maybe then it's a polygamy. Do not think that way. The mating systems are fluid. Okay. For females, they try to mate as many females as possible. That's the best way to increase their reproductive success. So what should look at is that if males is a monogamy, then what ecological conditions limit these males to to mating with multiple females? So what should look at is the ecological constraints, and that ecological constraint determines the social organization of males and females, and this social organization will determine the mating system of that species. So that again, the mating systems are fluid. So the mating systems can change depending on the population densities and the resource distributions. Let's first look at the monogamy. The monogamy is a mating system in which one male mates with one female in a breeding season. So male monogamy is a Darwinian puzzle. Why might be the male again? The polygyny is probably the natural outcome of the male-male competition. Then why do males in some species exhibit the monogamy? Here we should look at what might be adaptive for a male to mate with only one female. So go to the online discussion, and then there are several hypotheses where it might be adaptive for a male to mate with only one female. They are the mate assistant monogamy, mate guarding monogamy, and female enforced monogamy. And please explain what this hypothesis is and give an example for each hypothesis. And I want to explain one of these hypotheses in male monogamy, which is the mate assistance monogamy. What does it mean? What it means is that the female alone cannot successfully rear the young to the adults, and so that you need help. The females need help from the males to successfully rear the youngs to the adults. And this mate assistant monogamy is probably the most common in birds, in avian species. And let's look at the incubation. In the nest of the birds. They usually in Korea, many bird species they have the breeding season during the spring when the the temperature outside is still quite cold, and you know that the birds, they are quite warm. They are usually warmer than us. So if you climb up the trees and then you touch the eggs in the nest, then you feel that they are really warm. They maintain the high temperature of the incubating eggs. But if there's two parents, male and female birds, they incubate together, but not at the same time. But one is incubating one time, the other one go out and foraging, and they switch, or they switch. If two parents incubate, they cooperate to incubate together, then the temperature of the eggs is maintained. It's relatively high, 35 degrees in this species. And look at the variation. This is quite narrow. But if you, let's say that the males leave the nest, there's only one male, so that there's only one individual left. There's usually the female incubating her eggs. Then look at the incubating temperature here, which is a lot lower than the 35 degrees C. And at the same time, look at the variation. This is much wider. As a result, 95% of the eggs cared for by both parents hatched. But compared with the only 75% of those cared for by their mothers only. So you need help. You need help from males to incubate from the 75% to the 95% of the eggs in the starling's nest. And that is called mate-assisted monogamy. And you need help, even if they hatched, you need help from male to go out and find food and bring the food to the nestlings. You still need help. So the monogamy is widespread and the parental care by males is often very critical for the survival of the eggs and young in monogamous birds. So that the monogamy is critical in bird species to successfully rear their nestlings to fledgling. But it doesn't mean that they are genetically monogamous, even if they maintain monogamy for several breeding seasons. There is the extra pair copulation. There is the mating by an individual with someone other than their primary partners in a seemingly monogamous species. And I want to distinguish between the social monogamy and the genetic monogamy. The social monogamy is that you just live together in one nest. You see every day, and you cooperate to rear the young. That's the social monogamy. But that doesn't mean that they might be a genetic monogamy. That's the genetic monogamy, that you have like a biological parents you mate with, and then the laid eggs, you are the genetic parents of these youngs. That's the genetic monogamy. If it's not the genetic monogamy, then somebody did the extra pair copulation, or EPC in short. In social monogamies, in the social monogamy, this one, that the male and female pair together, and then they cooperate in the breeding season. This social monogamy occurs in about 90% of the avian species. But out of 90% of the avian species, 90% they exhibit individual promiscuity in the form of the extra pair copulation. And you remember that this Mandarin, Mandarin duck, that's the symbol of the wedding ceremony in our traditional societies. But but you know that the male and female ducks, they also exhibit the extra pair copulation. Had our ancestors known this fact, this biology, they wouldn't have chosen these Mandarin ducks for their symbol of the wedding ceremony in our traditional societies. Okay, polyandry. Polyandry is the mating system in which females mate with multiple males in the breeding season. And I told you that the polyandry is the Darwinian puzzle because the females, they typically need only the sperms from one male. There is enough for to fertilize all of her eggs, so that they cannot greatly increase the number of offspring by having multiple partners. And so females often need help in raising offspring. So the monogamy is the good for them. But then why in some species they mate with multiple males? And there are costs for polyandry. In the cost of polyandry, what is that? That's they spend time searching for and mating with the extra pair of males. You need time. Other than with that time, you may go out, find food, and bring this food to the individuals. You also risk of losing parental care from a social partner if the social partner found out that you committed the extra pair copulation. And also, there's a chance of picking up the sexually transmitted disease. And because of this cost, and also you don't have the additional benefit of mating with multiple males. The polyandry is the Darwinian puzzle. Then why might be adaptive? Okay, why might be adaptive for a female to mate with more than one male? And I explained this word, the adaptive, okay, several times earlier. And what this means is that adaptive means that it is selected for, so that by practicing the behavior after, you can increase your fitness. Okay, you can have more offspring than the individuals that do not exhibit that behavior. So why might be adaptive for female to mate with more than one male? There are two classes of hypotheses. One of them is the genetic benefit polyandry, and the other one is the material benefit polyandry. What does it mean is that you get genetic benefits. By mating with multiple males, and the second class of the explanation is this: you get material benefits, okay, food or the territory, okay, material benefits by mating with the multiple mates. So I want you to discuss each of the. I want you to discuss explain each hypothesis for the polyandry, and then give an example for each hypothesis. Polygyny. Polygyny is a mating system in which a male mates with multiple females in a breeding season, and this is not a Darwinian puzzle. Okay, this is not a Darwinian puzzle. It's better to mate with many females in a breeding season. That's the best way for a male to increase his reproductive success. But there's a huge variation from species to species in the tactics, in the method employed by males to achieve polygyny. And I listed 4 of them. They are resource defense polygyny, and female defense polygyny, and scramble competition polygyny, and lag polygyny. Again, I want you to explain what each hypothesis is and give an example in online discussion. Finally, promiscuity. That's the mating system in which both male and females mate with several times with different individuals. Probably the best example will be the chimpanzees and bonobos. They live in a group, in a quite big group, sometimes like 20 or 30 or sometimes 40 individuals. In one female goes to a receptive, then she can basically mate with any male in the group. So this is the good example of the promiscuity. Also in bonobo. And people think that they use sex to elevate the social conflicts. They are more like a harmonious society, as well as to reproduce. So this week we have studied the mating systems in animals, and basically there are 4 of them. polygamy, polyandry, polygyny, and promiscuity. And these three, you may call it polygamy. In contrast to the to monogamy, I want you to I said that the male monogamy is a Darwinian puzzle. Also, the female polyandry is also the Darwinian puzzle. I want you to know why these two the male monogamy and polyandry are Darwinian puzzles, and also I want you to know the why the different hypotheses for such mating systems. But the most important thing, again, is that you have to look at the ecological constraints, okay? Ecological constraints for each species. What limit the males, the individuals, the males and females, to mate with multiple mates, or what ecological conditions force them to mate with multiple males. If you know the understand, then you can you can know the mating systems of that species. Again, the mating system is not fixed. The ecological constraints and the social organization determines the mating system of a species. Well, thank you for this week lesson. And next week we're going to, we have completed the grand theme of one of the grand theme in animal behavior. That is the evolution of sex, sexual selection, and mating systems. And then the next week, next two weeks, we're going to go over another grand theme of the grand theme in animal behavior, which is the social evolution. See you next week.